Jesus loved speaking in parables. When he would teach, he would use these kind of word pictures, these analogies or stories to try to get his points across. One of the pictures he loved using was talking about our faith as being like a seed. In fact, he compared it to a tiny mustard seed. Do you even know what a mustard seed is? Do you know how small a mustard seed is? Hang on, I've got one here somewhere. I always carry a mustard seed with me, just in case, like I'm sure a lot of you do, just in case. You never know when a dude is going to be like, yo, you want a hot dog? And I'm like, yo, yeah, man, do you have any mustard? And I'm like, no. I'm like, don't worry about it. I got my mustard seed here. I'll plant this. We'll get a tree. Don't worry about it. Hang on. Okay, I got it here, right? You even see this? See this tiny little guy? Look at that little guy. You see it, right? Now, the mustard seed is this tiny little thing, right? And this tiny I'm never going to find that. But Jesus speaks in an allegory. He says, listen, this tiny little seed can grow into this big, magnificent tree. Look at this tree right here. This thing is beautiful, man. Like that is a mustard tree right there from that tiny little seed. Mustard tree.
Mustard? Don't let's be silly.
Okay, so it's not a mustard tree. Let's be silly. I think it's a spruce tree. Definitely a spruce tree. That's a spruce tree right there. But you get the point. The analogy is this. Your faith starts off as something super tiny like a mustard seed, but it can grow into this great big magnificent thing. So here's the thing that's fun about seeds. That seed has everything in it that it needs to become the plant, right? Even though it's just this simple little, looks like a grain of nothing, right? Even though it's that, it has everything in it to become a magnificent tree. It's got the information embedded in it. What it needs to grow into the thing it's supposed to be, what it needs is to be nurtured. You hear that word, nurture? Have you heard that word at all? Maybe this year, right? This year, our faith theme in our division is inspired by Christ on a journey to encounter, nurture, and serve. And we're focusing on that word nurture. And so what we do here at Red Deer Catholic Schools is we're giving you the faith, and it's like we give it to you and it's like, here's a little seed of faith. And then what we hope will happen is that it will be nurtured in you and will grow in you and turn into something fantastic. But Jesus uses another analogy, and this is the one that we heard today in this parable, right? The parable of the sower and the seeds. And he talks about this sower who just goes out and he starts like throwing his seeds all over the place, and that's how he's planting his seeds. And it says that some of the seeds just fall onto the path. And when they fall on the path, the birds just come and they eat it up. Like it has no chance to ever become a plant, right? Well, that's like if we're giving you the faith, if someone's telling you about Jesus and then you get those guys who are just like, Jesus, I don't get it. I don't know what you talk about. Nah, forget about it, right? And they just it does nothing for them because they're like, I don't get it. And some people are literally like that. They're like, if I don't understand that, it must not be true, right? It's like if we're throwing seeds and it's like, have some Jesus, have some Jesus. Like, I don't know. Nothing. And they just walk away. That's what some people are like. Okay. There's other people, Jesus says, who are like rocky ground. And you can imagine this. You throw the seeds onto the rocky ground and they take root right away, right? And they grow up, but then the sun comes out and they wither. That's these people. They hear about Jesus. Maybe they have some experience in prayer or at a retreat or youth ministry or something like that. And they're all like, oh man, I love this stuff, man. I love Jesus. Amen, brother. Preach it, right? And they're so excited. But then what happens is they have no roots. There's no depth to that, right? And so it's kind of like, it looks like this big thing is coming out of it. But the reality is as soon as life gets hard, or as soon as they have to face those hard theological questions, or they have to wrestle with something, then they're just like, and it withers and it doesn't become anything. The third group of people are like when the seeds get thrown and they land among the thorns. Think like weeds, right? If you've ever had to weed a garden, the reason you weed a garden, it's not just because weeds are ugly, right? What happens is weeds grow up really fast and they absorb a lot of the nutrients and they take the sunlight when they cast shade on other plants. They take too much of the water. Basically, they're taking too many resources. They're taking too much up, right? So if a plant falls, if there's a flower, if you've got weeds in your garden or in your vegetable garden, right? Things aren't going to grow properly. That's why you have to pull out the weeds. Well, Jesus says there's some people who it's like, they're trying to grow their faith, But they got so many other things consuming too many of their resources, right? Maybe it's money, maybe it's politics, maybe it's your hobbies, maybe it's sports, and these things can be good things. But what happens is they consume so many of your resources. You spend so much time thinking about those things that instead of letting your faith grow, those things consume all the resources and it chokes your faith. Last group Jesus talks about is like the tilled soil. If I want to grow a garden, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first turn over the soil. I'm going to put some nutrients in it. I'm going to water it. I'm going to make sure that it gets plenty of sunlight. These are the things that will help my garden to grow, right? Well, that's what he wants us to be like. He wants us to be ready. So if you think about it, tilled soil means we're open, right? When those seeds come at us, we're open to receive those things. They're able to come down into us. They're able to make deep roots, right? We let it sink down inside us and then it grows up. And Jesus says that these seeds are going to grow and they're going to bear like 100-fold or 60-fold or 30-fold. What that means is this: these tiny little seeds that are planted in us, they grow into these amazing and beautiful things. This is our hope for you at Red Deer Catholic Schools. Our hope is that as we're giving you these seeds, we're giving you these little bits of faith, we're hoping that these things are actually taking root in you. What you need to do is make your heart ready to receive it. Be open to it, because you know what? If you're open to it, those seeds, those little bits that we're giving you, they will continue to grow and develop and mature, and they're going to bear awesome fruit. God bless you.